Hey everyone, it's SpursRail96 here. Hope you're doing well out there. Welcome to another Train Sim World news video. Today I thought I'd take a look at one of the new routes coming with the base Train Sim World 6 package that is due to be released in under 2 weeks' time. The route in question we're taking a look at today is in the southwest of the United Kingdom, the Riviera line. So let's dive into the details and see what this route has to offer on paper at least. So a little bit of information about the route itself. Both the Riviera and South Devon main lines were built in the mid-1800s. The challenging topography of the landscape saw the rails navigate over hills and cling to coastlines, but was considered favourable over an alternative route over the granite tors of Dartmoor. What followed was instant connections to seaside resorts and the ability to cross some of the most picturesque railway in England. As a result, the line soared in popularity. In Train Sim World, the stretch from Exeter St David's to Plymouth links Devonshire's two biggest cities via this dramatic and historic route. Long gone are the days of GWR's infamous broad gauge and atmospheric railway systems. Instead today, the Exeter to Plymouth line is part of the greater modern UK railway network. This is demonstrated as soon as players leave Exeter St David's, heading south through the industrial estate of Marsh Barton, where a brand new station was opened in 2023. From there the line begins to hug the Exe River, passing through the grounds of Paignton Castle, where the Earls of Devon have resided for hundreds of years. Isambard Kingdom Brunel was granted permission to build his atmospheric railway through the estate itself in the 1840s. The first station beyond Exeter's confines is Starcross. From there, trains travel through the harbour at Cockwood, a popular rail fanning spot, and down to Dawlish Warren, where the River Exe ends and meets the English Channel. Redstone cliffs, split by the occasional tunnel and accompanied by a coastal walkway, which is also good for rail fanning, follow the railway line through to Dawlish town, famous for its black swans and the storm of 2014 that washed away the sea wall and railway line that necessitated extensive rebuilding of the railway line. The coastal running then continues through to Tidmouth. At Newton Abbot, the line splits with the main line continuing on to Plymouth via Totnes and Ivybridge, and the Paignton branch line heading back towards the coast via Tor and Torquay. The route reaches its southern extremity at the city of Plymouth, where trains will run out of the map to serve Cornwall. Larrow Depot is included and fully accessible in the route, where GWR and cross-country trains are stabled and maintained. As far as the trains that's coming with this route, the headline act, the star of the show, is the GWR Class 802 IET, and which also brings back the GWR branding to the game since its first appearance way back when Great Western Express launched for the original Train Sim World in 2017. Though this train may look similar to the LNER Class 801 Azuma included in the hideous East Coast Main Line route, it performs and sounds very different to the Azuma variant. The Class 802 is a bi-mode multiple unit with full diesel engine power to cope with the undulating terrain of the non-electrified Riviera line, as well as overhead electric power for use elsewhere. The interior also looks markedly different to the LNER variant, with the smart grey and green passenger areas, which will have new passenger announcements and passenger ambience features implemented for increased levels of immersion. You can also turn it off via the settings menu if you don't like it. I've also learnt that the announcements aren't actually licensed. The way Dovetail's implemented these announcements is via the use of AI text-to-speech tech. Coming alongside the Class 802 is a familiar face, the Class 150 diesel multiple unit. For the Riviera line, the Class 150 will serve local services and will come in obviously a new GWR livery. The cab has been reworked and the passenger interior is brand new from previous versions. In addition, sounds have been completely redone from scratch following an audio recording trip by Dovetail's audio team, which has also enabled the sounds for the Transport for Wales Class 150 in the Cardiff City network to be updated for Train Sim World 6 players. Some of these updated sounds are apparently already implemented into the TFW version. If you choose to get the Digital Deluxe Edition, another new train to play with on this route is a highly requested one. the Class 220 Voyager in cross-country colours. These distinctive trains were born from the idea to revolutionise some of the busiest and longest services in the United Kingdom, including the vast cross-country network. Entering service in 2001, the fleet of 34 Class 220s got busy traversing England and Scotland, with each member of the class clocking up hundreds, if not thousands, of miles per day. In Train Sim World 6, you can be a driver or a conductor aboard busy cross-country services along the scenic Riviera line, specifically express services from Exeter to Plymouth or vice versa. What's also cool is that the Voyager will be implemented into other Train Sim Worlds, other timetables on Train Sim World, albeit via a few post-release patches. There are plans to implement service layers for the Class 220 Voyager on Rivet Games' version of the Birmingham Cross City line, Alan Thompson Simulations Manchester Airport Commuter, and the yet-to-be-released West Coast Main Line Birmingham to Carlisle route, which is pretty cool. But what about the gameplay itself? What can you actually do on this route? Well, we'll start things nice and easy with scenarios. There's 8 scenarios, 5 of the route itself, and 3 for the Class 220 Voyager. These focus on various events such as Halloween, inclement weather causing trails to fail at Dawlish, and the opening of Marsh Barton Station. Mastery challenges are also included, requiring you to perform certain tasks, like completing certain scenarios or travelling a certain number of miles to unlock specific tiers. Tier 1 unlocks posters that can be seen throughout the route, and Tier 2 unlocks toggable scenery tiles. And now we get to the meat of this route, the timetable, and there is a hell of a lot to discuss. So I'm going to try and keep it as condensed as possible. So the Class 802 and the Class 150 will operate services, not GWR services on the line. The Class 802, for example, will do services from Exeter to Plymouth or vice versa. It will also occasionally do some services to Paignton. And the same can be said for the Class 150. It primarily focuses on local services as well as the local Riviera line down to Paignton and serving Torquay, but occasionally you will also see it on the main line going to Plymouth, doing all-stop services. That is playable and AI as well. If you have Great Western Express, you will be able to operate as well as see the HST make an appearance, operating Penzance to Cardiff Central services. And by the way, this timetable is based in May 2023 GWR timetable. The Class 166 Turbo will also make an appearance, I think substituting into Class 150 services on the Paignton branch line. Maybe the main line too, but I'm not really sure about that. For some extra immersion-ish, let's say, at Exeter St David's, if you want to see, let's say, some London Waterloo to Exeter services appearing as AI, you will need the Class 158 diesel multiple unit from the Midland Main Line. And if you don't like that, well, you could just turn the layer off. It's that simple. But as far as other layers are concerned, there is a lot of rail tour services that requires a huge amount of DLC. I'm not going to name every single bit of DLC you will need. I'll put a link in the description to the Dovetail Games website, which has a complete list of all the DLC you will need to access all of the rail tour layers. But I will name at least what the rail tours are called. These are such as the South Devon Banks rail tour, the Cathedral Express rail tour, the Western Pilgrim rail tour, the Devonian Double rail tour, a further rail tour known as the South Devon Explorer, the Western Sunrise rail tour, the Torquay Express rail tour, and for that you will need a hell of a lot of DLC. That's all I'm going to say. But one particular one that does interest me is that Dovetail tried to mimic the famous Night Riviera sleeper service operated by Great Western Railway. To kind of portray that in Train Sim World, they're basically using first-class Mark III carriages pulled by a BR Class 47. Freight-wise, there is a fair bit to do. It's not it's not completely stacked with freight on this route's timetable. The Riviera line has way less freight today than it did in the past, but what remains will give you certainly a run for your money. It's quite challenging by the sound of it. Many freight services you see start or end at Exeter Riverside Yard, just north of Exeter St David's, which is fully playable, which is cool. Sand trains from Bungalow flows to Bow for making concrete, while the empty train handles 16 wagons at once. Viaduct weight restrictions restrict loaded wagons to 8 at a time, so the loaded trains run twice, leaving the first batch of wagons at Exeter Riverside Yard and then running light back to Plymouth to pick up the rest. For that you will need the West Coast Main Line London to Milton Keynes for everyone's favourite locomotive, the Class 66, and Southeastern High Speed. China Clay trains is also available to be operated on this route. Now, China Clay is mined in Cornwall and flows from Bungalow, through Exeter Riverside Yard. These are represented by the PGA wagons, courtesy of the Class 20 loco add-on for the Tees Valley line. They are standing in for the CDA wagons, which handle China Clay traffic until 2023. This layer is seasonal to represent the as-needed traffic, which doesn't run every day. So for that, again, you will need the West Coast Main Line, London to Milton Keynes for the Class 66, for Class 20 loco add-on for the PGA wagons, and of course you'll need Tees Valley line alongside that. Another type of freight train you could operate or see about on the route is nuclear waste. Nuclear waste is transported from Plymouth's dockyard, removed from decommissioned Royal Navy submarines. Like for real services, these operate with top and tail DRS Class 66s, 2 flask wagons, and an Aircon Mark F rider carriage. These services have been planned into the in-game timetable ahead of Skyhook Games' Cargo Line Volume 5 Nuclear Pack release. For these kind of services, you will require the Edinburgh to Glasgow route Engineering Express pack, the Cargo Line Volume 5 Nuclear Pack, which isn't out yet, and the BR Class 86-2 electric locomotive for the coaches. Exeter Riverside Yard stored disused aggregate wagons, included a static stock in the route to match satellite reference photos. For that you will require Great Western Express. And of course you can't forget the railhead treatment train. They are in full operation twice daily in October and November in the timetable. So if you like the railhead treatment train, you can operate railhead treatment train services that cover every aspect of the route from Exeter to Plymouth and even the section down to Paignton as well. For this particular type of services, you will need the railhead treatment train DLC along with Southeastern High Speed. And there we go. That concludes this video. If you'd enjoyed it, then feel free to hit the thumbs up button below. And if you are watching for the first time, I'd appreciate it if you would consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.